Welcome everybody to the next edition of the Stay on Course podcast. Today's guest is Joey Himelfarb, and he is a dynamic speaker, author, and sales trainer who helps job seekers and professionals master the art of selling themselves with confidence and positivity. He's the author of Don't Paint Your Kitchen, a guide to standing out in today's job market by leading with mindset, energy, and self awareness. So, whether you're job hunting, pitching a business, or selling an idea, Joey's here to remind us that there's a right way to show up, and success starts with how you carry yourself. Joey, welcome to the Stay on Course podcast.
Thank you so much, Julie. Happy to be here.
Well, this is going to be a very interesting conversation, Joey. But before we get started, I ask all of my guests, what's your favorite food?
Ice cream, one of the food groups, I think. If not, it should be.
I mean, if it's not a food group, you just made it a food group.
I'm making it a food group, yeah. Any flavor, whether I don't care what's in it. Just I love ice cream. I could eat it all day.
Okay. Well, I think before we get started, I just want to get like a little summary of this book, Don't Paint Your Kitchen, because that's a very interesting name.
Yeah. So wow, where do I start? I was born now. I wrote this book to help job seekers sell themselves because I had been making presentations to networking groups for many years around New Jersey, and when somebody said write the book, I figured, all right, so I wrote the book. So in the book, in my presentations, there's a concept of self-discipline about how successful salespeople have the sense of self-discipline to stay the course, if you will. And what that means is if you're looking for work and you're sitting in your kitchen and you're typing away and you look up from your screen to take a break and you see that your kitchen needs painting, it's easy to walk away from the keyboard and go paint your kitchen. The problem with that is that while you're painting your kitchen, your competition is looking for work and possibly getting your job. So let's say you paint the kitchen and it's a beautiful thing and it looks great. And the next day you wake up in your beautiful kitchen, you start typing away, looking for work, and you take a break from the screen, you look up and you see the beautiful painted kitchen, but then you look into the dining room, which is a little bit drab, and you say, I'll paint the dining room. And the reason you're doing this is because you don't want to get rejected, you don't want to do the work, you're not disciplined. And so you paint the dining room. But that's going to take a couple of days. A week has gone by, you haven't looked for work, your competition has, possibly taking your job. So the problem with doing the kitchen and the dining room is that now it's like, well, I might as well paint the whole house. Well, a month's going to go by, and that's not good. Don't paint your kitchen implies sit at the keyboard or do what you got to do. Make the phone calls, do the research, do your homework, do your networking, update your resume, make sure your profile on LinkedIn is up to date, and do all the things you're supposed to do. Get a job, and then hire a painter because he or she can do it in a third of the time you could, probably so much better. And oh, by the way, they could use the money as well. So that's the point of the title, and that's literally the point of the story is that, we sell every day. I don't care who you are, what you do, what your stature is in life, where you live, your zip code, it doesn't matter. We sell our thoughts and ideas and our concepts to everybody around us. And there's a right way to do it and a wrong way. And we know this all the time. Sometimes we're successful in getting our point across, sometimes we're not. If we step back and try to figure that out, we can get better at getting rid of the bad experiences and making the good ones better. It's a challenge. And for people who don't sell, who haven't been trained in selling, they don't get that. And so when they're out in the marketplace, whether they're looking for work or looking for opportunities or looking for clients, there's a right way to do it and a wrong way. And that's the nature of the beast. So when I wrote the book for job seekers, I got some great reviews on Amazon, and people were saying, Joey, this isn't just for job seekers. This is a book on leading a positive-minded life. Anybody could
Mm.
benefit from this. Well, that may be, but you can't write a book for everybody, right? So my second book, which is in the process of writing now, it's a little bit more broad. I'm sorry, it's a little bit more focused now because I do know that you can't write for everybody. But I do believe that even though I'm writing for job seekers, if you're a business person or self-employed or somewhere in the middle, you could benefit from the concept of, which is I think they're going to be the thesis of the book, is that all of us are on this journey. And we all think we're special, but we're not unique because everybody is going through this, right? On the other side of the coin, we're all unique because we all have skills, abilities, and talents that make us unique. But we're not special because others might have those as well. But in the scheme of things, I think job seekers specifically think that they're the only ones dealing with this malaise that they're in. Like they're the only person looking for work. And we know that you're not, right? You know, you're not the only person who's looking for work. It used to be that you were not the only person looking for work. And tomorrow you still won't be the only person looking for work. So I want people to realize that you're part of a collective, I don't know, humanity, if you will. But we are counting on you, Mr. and Mrs. Job Seeker, to take your skills, your abilities, and talents and put them on a pedestal and share them with the world. We need
Yeah.
that, right? Because if we all pitched, Julie, right? If we all pitched, who'd play shortstop? Can't do that. Not everybody's good at everything, but some people are good at one thing. Some people can play the infield. Some people can pitch. Perfect. If you're a good pitcher, stay out of the infield. If you're a good shortstop, stay off the pitcher's mound. And let's get this done. And so I think job seekers have a set of skills, abilities, and talents that they don't bring to the table, or they don't do it well, right? And it's frustrating to see because I'm with a lot of job seekers on a regular basis in networking groups all around the country, in fact, all around the world sometimes. And it's frustrating to me to hear them wallow in the muck and the mire and the malaise of being unemployed.
Well, because they
And
all think that it's like only happening to them, or,
exactly.
oh, you don't understand.
Right.
I can't pay my bills. Well, I don't know about you, Joey, but I've
Never
lost my
mind.
job at least 7 times.
Me too. Right. So, and because I've been in sales all these years, right? My contention is that if you can sell anything, you can sell anything, especially yourself. Now, the only other person more qualified than you is your mom, but your mom really can't sell you, right? You got to do it on your own. And like I said, there's a right way and a wrong way. And if nothing else, I always tell people go back to the basics and the fundamentals. And in that respect, I defer to Napoleon Hill in Think and Grow Rich, who was
Mm.
commissioned by Andrew Carnegie way back when and he was introduced to Napoleon Hill was introduced to Andrew Carnegie's friends, multi-billionaires at the time, back in the 1900s. And he chartered them with, go find out what makes them tick. And he did, and he wrote a book about it. And he said the underlying common denominator from all these people in all sorts of walks of life was that they had a desire to be, do, or have something, right? They knew what they wanted. They knew where they were, but they knew where they wanted to be. And they did whatever it took to get there. And they were disciplined, and they put their nose to the grindstone, and they got it done. And when you're a job seeker or you're a business person looking for opportunities, figure out where you are today and where do you want to be tomorrow, and get on the horse and get it done. Because you can write all the plans you want, and Napoleon Hill talks about this as well. You can write all the plans you want, but until you act on those plans, it's just a pipe dream, just a pipe dream. So,
Exactly.
but here's the thing, and this goes back to Yogi Berra, a famous philosopher, right? Yogi Berra said, "If you don't know where you're going, how do you know when you get there?" Right?
Right.
George Harrison wrote a great song, ex Beatle, right? Any Road. You can find it on YouTube. It's a great song. He says any road will get you to where you want to go. And I contend as a job seeker or as a business person, you don't have the time, probably not the money, and you don't want to expend the effort to take any road to get to where you want to go. If you know where you want to go on the straightest line as possible. It's going to be detours, it's going to be speed bumps. You may have to take a step back, you may have to go sideways. But you always got to see your goal in the future. You got to know where you're going. Otherwise, according to Yogi, how will you know when you get there? Or according to George, any road will get you there. You don't have the time, you know the money,
Yeah.
you don't want to spend the effort.
Right.
So for me, if nothing else, know where you're heading, right? Have a goal, have a stake in the ground, and aim for it. And while you're doing that, and here's what happens. Now, if you do that, now what kicks in is your drive. Because now, if with a goal in mind, now come hell or high water, you're getting there. All the kitten videos, all the jokes of the day, all the late breaking news from all the different news stations who are begging for your attention and vying for your, I don't know, to distract you. You're like, no, no, this doesn't help me. Unless it helps you get to where you want to go, just bye bye. I'm not listening. I'm not watching. I'm not reading. I'm focused. Therein lies the self discipline. Successful salespeople have those traits. They have a desire, the drive becomes developed, and they stay disciplined and they stay focused. And some people, and I say, oh, look, he's being standoffish. Maybe, but you know what? It's going to come a time where he's going to get to where he or she wants to be. And people go, wow, look what he or she accomplished, right? Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, all
right.
right. So how do we, so because I talk to a lot of job seekers, and I basically tell them that they just got themselves a sales job when they lost their job. And
Yep.
so but they don't really it doesn't
Doesn't click.
compute. Like they don't
Yeah,
understand that concept. So
right.
how do you help these job seekers now put themselves in a position of being a salesperson?
Well, like I said, know where you are, know where you're going, right? And then what I say to them is write the job ad that you would respond to if you saw it written on an ad or in the internet or on a piece of paper, right? What is that job? And here it comes down to the specifics, the goal, the desire. What job are you looking for? Why? Why is that important to you? Do you like to manage people? Do you like to build things? Do you like to analyze data? Right? Do you like to supervise individuals? What is it about this job that's important? What about the job makes it specific to what you want to do? Do you need any I don't know, degrees, certifications? Do you need any licenses? Right? This is important stuff. Um, where are you doing this job? Are you doing it remotely? I mean, it's 2025, right? You're going to work remotely? Are you going to work in an office? You're going to go to a factory? You're going to work hybrid, couple days in, couple days out? Are you going to work on a farm? When are you going to do this job? 9 to 5, 10 to 6, at the middle of the night, right? I don't know, but you got to know this stuff. And the reason you got to know this stuff is because if you don't, then all the emails you're getting and all the bombardments for distracting your time are going to get in your way. If, for example, you want to be an accountant, why are you reading ads about graphic designers? Why do you care about the people that want to work, that want to do coding? You should be focused on accounting jobs, as an example, right? So you got to stay focused, and writing that job ad sets you on a path, I think, I suggest, because it worked for me, that just gets you to where you want to go. You may not get there tomorrow, but at least you're heading in the right direction. Otherwise, you're a pinball in a pinball machine, and you're at the mercy of the flippers, or you're a sailboat on the water without a sail, right?
Yeah.
You're at the mercy of the winds, right? So know where you're heading and get there. And understand, again, you may not get there in one day, and it may not be a straight path, but at least go, right? At least
Right.
do something. Write a letter, do some research, network, call a friend, go on LinkedIn, see who else works at the company where you want to work, make connections, right? Seek out the people you know who may know people you don't know. I mean, that's the other thing, right? Everybody you know, Julie, I'm preaching to the choir here. Everybody you know knows 250 people you don't know. Those 250 know an additional 250. Can you imagine? Can you imagine the possibilities if you talk to one person, the right person, and you tell him or her what you're trying to accomplish, and he or she says, wait a minute, I just spoke to Steve. I just spoke to Sally. Let me hold on a second, right? I mean, I tell people, you go back in your career history, you look at the managers you've had, chances are great, all of them were people you did not know, if not for an introduction somebody made on your behalf, right? And that's the way it works. That's how the world works. So people that submit their resumes to an ATS and an applicant tracking system, the black hole as we refer to in this industry, uh, good luck. Good luck, right? You need someone to be your ambassador. You need somebody to take your resume, walk it into somebody else's office, and say, Stephen, Sally, I want you to meet Julie. Talk to her. She'll
Yeah.
giving you a call this afternoon. When she calls, take her call. Julie's now her capital is now risen, right? Compared to the 1,000 resumes that are sitting on the desk, right? She now is in a viable position. Now it's Julie's to lose, right? But Julie's got to get the interview, right? Thousands of people are applying for two positions. The odds are against you, right?
Right.
Do what you can to put the odds in your favor. Do
Well,
those.
somebody said something to me once that it's my job to make them fall in love with me. That's your
Absolutely.
job
Absolutely.
on the
Yeah.
interview.
Yeah, I tell people, I want you to visualize, if you're lucky enough to get the interview, I want you to visualize in the interview halfway through, the hiring manager is actually going to stop you in your tracks, pick up their phone, call their admin and say, you know those people that are scheduled to come in today and tomorrow? Call them right now and cancel. Our knight in shining armor is sitting across the desk from us, from me, and I can't believe that it's taken us this long to meet this person. I can't wait for them to start. This is what I want. This is what I want applicants to think about and visualize when they're sitting in an interview.
I
And the
love
reason,
that. But you know what? It's so not reality because everybody, because there's so many people. I think that the hiring managers get stuck like,
yeah,
oh, are they exactly right? Do they exactly fit? And I think that there's too many options for these hiring managers.
way too many options. So you gotta nip it in the bud and make them look at you and say to themselves, all right, so she doesn't know how to code, but you know what? She's got a great personality. She's rambunctious. She's got a great attitude. We can teach her how to code. Not a problem. This is our knight in shining armor. This is what I
Yeah.
think. This is now the reason I want you to visualize that because you gotta, if you do that, if you think that, you'll act that way. And if you act that way, that means prior to the interview, you've done your homework. You figured out what this company's all about. You figured out what the job entails. You figured out what you did over there yesterday, you can do for this company tomorrow when they hire you. But you're only going to do that because you're acting as if you're their knight in shining armor. Why would you think otherwise? It makes no sense to me. Why would you wallow in the muck and the mire and complain and be distracted by all the things that you cannot control? And pick your poison: the market, the traffic, the weather, the politicians, your spouse, right? Your children. These are things you can't control, but you let them pervade your being, and that all that stuff gets in your way of presenting yourself in the best positive light. I don't know. It's not rocket science, I don't think. But you got to be focused. You got to be disciplined. It's not easy,
Yeah.
but man, the ones that are successful, they got it figured out.
It's interesting. I
Yeah.
mean, it's definitely interesting because the people that are going in there for jobs, I don't know, in some way, I feel like it's so much easier than selling your services for a business. Because,
Okay.
and here's why I'm saying that. Like, you're going in for a specific thing. Okay, you're in competition with others.
Ooh.
But it's different when you have your own business because you're selling something that they may not need per se or know that they want, but they need it, you know? And it's like, oh, are you going to open up your wallet and pay this person, you know? And the person has to exemplify like why you need it or, you know, or it just seems so much more complicated. I bet you, like, if I were to go on a job interview, I would have a probably a higher percentage of a rate of selling myself in that job interview than me getting a client in my business.
And in some respects, you're right, Julie, but in other respects, do you see the analogy between selling yourself for a job and selling yourself to a client?
Yeah,
It's
tell me the
almost,
difference. What do you see as the difference?
I don't see any difference. I think it's your mindset. I think your mindset is that, oh, if I don't sell this client, I'm not good. I'm not good at what I do. That's not true. That's not true at all. You didn't sell this client this day right now. Tomorrow's another day. There's another person to talk to. There's a famous mantra I use. I teach people. It's called SW cubed. Some will, some won't. So what? Next. There's always somebody else to talk to. There's always somebody else to talk to,
Yeah,
right? If you don't like that, how about some will, some won't. So what? Someone's waiting. Someone's waiting to hear your message, right? You got to deliver value to somebody who's willing to give you their money so that
yeah,
so that they believe that the value they get is worth more than the money they give you.
yeah,
Yeah. Well, okay. Same thing when you're looking for work. They're going to pay you they think your value, what value you bring to their company, right? They want to give you less than the value you bring. Okay, I understand that. But let me tell you what I got, and this is what I can do, and this is what I did, and I did it over there, and I can do it over here. When do you want me to start? I'm not saying be that bold and be that in your face, but just bring that attitude as opposed to, and I've seen this, always right? Tail between the legs, chin on my chest, droopy, right? Oh, it's a miserable day. Oh, I want to smack these people, right? It's like,
yeah,
would you hire you? I mean, would you talk to you? I mean, come on, right? Most hiring managers will protect their turf. They'll protect a bunch of apples, and they'll say to you, "I'm bringing in you're a bad apple. You're not going to spoil our bunch, right? Great. I'm not that person. I'm a good apple. Let me tell you why." And you start extolling the virtues of what you bring to the table, what you've done, what you can do, and how it served where you were, and how it'll work for the company that you're that you're interviewing with. You got to plant that picture in their brain, right? They don't
yeah,
know what they don't know. Well, that's
right.
because they never met you, right? You're there to tell them, here's what I've done my homework, I've done my research, I spoke to people, I see what you're up against. I read your 10K if it's a public company. I see the challenges that you're facing with, the risk that you're dealing with, the competition, whatever the case may be, right? Done my homework. And here's how I would help you. right? Here's the other thing, right? When you're in sales, it's not about you. It's about them. It's about the
Mm,
client, it's the customer, it's the person who's about to fork over the money. They don't care. They don't care about you. They don't care about how many wives and husbands you have, how many children, how many bills. They don't care about any of that stuff. All they care about is what can you do for me to get the monkeys off of my back? Can you
right.
help me with that? Well, no, don't say, well, yeah, absolutely. Here's what I can do. I did my homework, I did my research. This is what I did over there. Here's what I can do for you now. I mean, again, it's not rocket science. It just takes effort. It takes work. And again, you can't, like I said, you can't say I want to work for the XYZ company in that dream job, but then just sit there and, it's going to pop up in your face. No, you got to do something. You got to take some action to
Yeah.
make that manifest, right?
Well, that's so interesting because when I used to go for job interviews, I took it very seriously. In some cases, what I would do is I would take the job description, I would create my own training manual for the job before I got the job because some of the jobs that I was applying for were kind of complicated. And then what I would do is I would interview the people that knew about the job, especially if I was inside of the company. I would interview the people that knew about the job so that I could build this training manual. So when I got to the job interview, basically, I was training myself on the job I was already about to get. And this is like a totally different mindset than like what I'm doing now, because I have like all these meetings on my calendar, like meeting after meeting after meeting, and I don't know if that person is even potentially my client, but they have scheduled some time with me. So on the call, I'm determining, is this person even a potential client for me? Is it a collaborator? Is it someone can give me referrals, right? So there's different ways that I could be working with people, but I can't keep, just getting on these phone calls for referrals or partners. I need clients. So I think that, maybe I need to take it a little bit more seriously, like do that research.
Or do people when people sign up for time on your calendar, do you give them an opportunity to tell you why they're calling, why they're reaching out to you?
A
You
lot
know
of
why?
people that we bring on the calls here are to come on the podcast. So we reach out to them in some cases,
Uh-huh.
but some people are, coming from networking meetings that I'm just kind of meeting in a networking meeting. Um,
But why are they reaching out to you, Julie? What is it they want to get from you? Do you know?
they either want to sell their services or learn about me and what I do, right?
Okay. All right. Well, you need to know that. So you're better prepared.
Yeah.
You don't want to be blindsided. That's why I tell job seekers like, oh, you know what? I've been in this industry 25 years. I'll just wing the interview. Oh, no, you won't. If you wing the interview, you're gonna get your wings clipped, right? You got to practice, just like you described. You got to practice. You got to role play. Find somebody who can be the hiring manager. Take on that role. Give them the questions you think you'll be asked. Answer those questions. Record yourself, not just audio, video. Watch your nonverbals. Watch how you answer the questions. Watch where your eye contact goes, right? Watch what
Hmm.
you do with your hands. Watch what you don't say, because what you don't say speaks volumes. And if you have a nervous twitch in a role play and you bring that to the actual interview, that could be the end of the interview. Could be, not necessarily, could be, right? If you jangle coins in your pocket, if you fidget with a pen on the table, it may be a small thing, but to a hiring manager, it could be distracting. You may not know
Exactly.
that because you're sitting in the forest. You don't see the trees. So rehearse, practice. I say this all the time. You watch athletes on television, professional athletes, you're like, when they turn a double play or they shoot a free throw and they make them like it's so nonchalant. Well, yeah, you know why? Because they've been doing it since they're 7 years old, right? They
Yeah.
practice every day. You and I, we didn't do that. That's why we watch them, right?
Amazing.
So you got to practice. You got to put in the effort. You do it in a non-hostile, friendly environment with, like I said, with somebody who you pick to be your role model, not the role model, to play the role of the hiring manager. And it's a safe environment. You can make a mistake. It's okay. It's okay to flub. If you flub or you say something, you look at the recording and you hear something you said that doesn't make sense, don't bring it up again. You hear something and you say, well, what a great answer. Make sure you use that, right? And then somewhere in between, you massage your take, your delivery, how you behave, how you present yourself. And now when you go in for the interview, now it's like when they ask you a question and you answer it off the top of your head, you're not fumbling. You're like, wow, this person knows what they're doing. This person has done their homework. This is a knight in shining armor.
Right.
It's not rocket science. It's just you
It's
got to put in the effort. I know.
Got
I
to
just
put in the effort. Well, okay, Joey, let's just summarize. What do you want people to leave thinking about after they listen to this podcast?
it's not about you. It's about them. If you put yourself in their shoes and figure out what they're all about and what they need, you're halfway there. Because
Hmm.
because if I'm selling pens and you need paper, I'm never going to make a sale. And I can bang my head till I'm blue in the face. It's not going to work. So you got to know and you got to be prepared.
Right.
You got to know what you're heading into. It's critical. So
It
critical.
is. It's so
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah. But again, it's not about you. Salespeople, here's what great salespeople are solution providers. They want to help their client. And it even means to the to even if you don't have a solution and you can find somebody that can give them one, you're going to make a friend. Your boss may not like that, right? But you're made a friend with this guy, with this client, because you're helping them. And that's what
Right.
you do. That's what you do. Your job is to get them from where they are to where they want to be. You have the tools and the techniques and the strategies and the wherewithal to help them. If you do, go for it. If you don't, all right, then you got to fiddle. If you cannot, then you got to help them somehow, some way. Somehow, some way, you got to help them because they want to be helped. And you may not get the sale, but you're going to make a friend, and that's gonna come back and help you. I suspect. Maybe Pollyanna, maybe naive, but you know what? I don't know. You got to be nice to people. You got to be nice. People don't buy from companies, Julie. They buy from the people that represent the companies.
It's right. It's right. And that's so interesting because when I watch Alex Hermosi, he's like an influencer.
Yeah,
He talks all about the personal brand. He was doing some research and he was like, why is Gary V, so popular?
right,
And it's because he created a personal brand because
right,
people buy from people, they don't buy from companies.
correct. Yeah. Yeah, again, it's not rocket science. It's just I think what happens is, and I'm just as guilty. Trust me, I'm not a machine. I'm not AI. I have emotions. I have feelings. I can get hurt. I can be rejected, and I've been all those things. When you're in sales, count on it. Those things are going to happen. But what do I do when that happens? Do I sit on the couch, assume the fetal position, and suck my thumb and eat a gallon of ice cream, even though it's my favorite? I'm not going to do that. Can't do that. You got to pick yourself up, right? Figure out what you did wrong, and get back on
Yeah.
the horse, right? Find another client to talk to. Find another company to work for, whatever the case may be. But you can't let this stuff get you down. It's
Yeah.
you can't. Again, I know. I mean, again, maybe Pollyanna and it may be naive, but what choice do you have?
What choice do you have, Joey? And let's end there.
Okay.
Tell us more about where our audience can find out more about you.
Best place to find me is on LinkedIn. I'm the only Joey Himelfarb on that platform, believe it or not. And you can find out all you want about me. My book is on there. My first book, Don't Paint Your Kitchen. You can find that on Amazon. My second book, like I said, is in progress right now. It won't be ready for at least another year. It's a much more arduous task, this second book. I want it to be so much better than the first one. So I'm really crossing my T's and dotting my I's and really want to make sure the content is appropriate and viable. And again, as a New Yorker, I'm born and bred in New York, so I'm in your face. I have a lot of opinions. I read some of the stuff I read. I'm like, I can't write that. I can't publish that. People will not be happy. So I'm trying to tone it down, but provide tough love, as you had mentioned at the beginning, right? I want to be a friend. I want to help you. I want to see you succeed. I want to see you be the knight in shining armor. I think that's a great guiding light for me to get people. If they can get that mindset, that starts the ball rolling to the acting as if. And I think acting as if is so critical, right? It's like a ball player is on the field, right? When a shortstop is waiting for the pitch and the bat to be swung, he's already thinking, or she, if it's softball, I'm getting the ball and I'm throwing it to first base. They're already thinking, I'm acting as if. Does that always happen? No. But when it does, bang, 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 runner out at first. And we're like, wow, that was amazing. Yeah, well, you know what? That person was thinking about it for the last 35 seconds, right?
Right.
While the pitcher got the ball from the catcher, he's rubbing the ball, he's fixing his cap. The shortstop is going, all right, this ball's coming to me. I'm ready. I'm acting as if, right? Acting as if puts him in a position or her to be ready for a ground ball or a fly, whatever it may be. But it's not it when they do it, we're like, wow, they're magicians. No, they're not. They're just good at thinking ahead. They're acting as if. No reason, Mr. and Mrs. Job Seeker, you can't do the same. Don't walk into an interview thinking, I might get this offer. Why would you even go? You're getting this offer, right? Well, I don't know. Don't say, I don't know. You said you did your homework, right? You did your research. You practiced. You did your role playing. You're going to get this job. Now, and here's my disclaimer. I go through all that with them, right? And at the end, I say, listen, I see you pumped. That's great. You're acting as if I want to tell you something. There's no guarantee with all this preparation, you're going to get this job offer. No guarantee. I guarantee you don't prepare, all bets are off. Chances are great you won't get the offer. You might, who knows? It could be a fluke. I don't know. But you know what? You got to act as if and just be prepared. Plan for the best, right? Just, I would say plan for the worst, hope for the best, right? Just do your best. Do your research, do your homework, and then act as if you're getting the offer.
All right, Joey, thank you so much for being a
Yeah,
guest on the Stand Course podcast.
sure. Thank you, Julie.